I'll never forget that night. The one when I first heard the splashes. It was mid-July. One of those heavy summer evenings when the air itself feels like it's sweating. My backyard pool shimmered under the dim glow of my porch light, still and silent, until plop, splash, and a shriek of laughter echoed across the fence. At first, I thought maybe it was the neighbors' kids, or maybe I was just hearing things. But when I peered through the blinds, there it was. Water rippling, movement, and the faint outline of someone diving into my pool. Now, I live in an HOA community. You know, the kind where everyone smiles at each other at the mailbox, but secretly keeps notes about your grass height. Our HOA president, Karen Walker, is the queen of that kind of behavior. She's the type who writes anonymous emails about your garbage can being visible for too long, and signs them with love, the community. But this was new. I grabbed my phone, stepped out quietly onto the porch, and flicked the light switch. Click. Floodlights illuminated the yard like a crime scene, and there they were. 2 teenagers freezing mid-splash, and one middle-aged man in a tacky floral shirt, holding a can of beer, looking like a deer in headlights. It was Karen's family. Her husband, Mark, standing in my pool, his expression half guilty, half bored. Her teenage son and daughter were laughing nervously, whispering something about, "He saw us." I just stood there, stunned. Can I help you?" I asked, deadpan. Mark blinked and said, "Oh, hey man. Karen said it was fine. We just needed a quick dip. You weren't using it." Karen said it was fine. Now, that's a funny sentence, considering Karen doesn't own my pool, my yard, or my patience. "Really?" I replied slowly. Because last I checked, I didn't remember giving out pool memberships tonight. The teenagers tried to climb out, slipping on the wet tiles, muttering apologies. Mark looked around like maybe an explanation would magically appear in the chlorine fumes. "Look, it's been a hot week," he said, water dripping off his chin. "Karen thought you wouldn't mind." "Oh, I mind," I said, crossing my arms. "I mind a lot." They shuffled out awkwardly, leaving wet footprints and the faint smell of cheap beer. I didn't yell, didn't need to. Their embarrassment was loud enough. As the gate clicked behind them, I stared at the pool. The calm water reflected the porch light, now distorted with ripples and floating leaves. Karen thought I wouldn't mind. That was the moment I decided to stop playing nice. Because if her family thought my pool was free for the taking, I was about to show them just how wrong they were. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of tapping on my front door. That polite, rhythmically aggressive kind of knock only Karen could pull off. When I opened the door, there she was. Perfectly ironed blouse, clipboard in hand because of course, and that frozen smile that could curdle milk. "Good morning," she chirped, her tone balancing between fake cheerfulness and mild accusation. "I heard there was a misunderstanding last night." I leaned against the doorway, coffee in hand. "You mean when your family broke into my pool?" Her smile twitched. "Oh, don't be dramatic. Mark told me you caught them swimming. I did tell him it was fine. You weren't home, and it's part of the shared neighborhood amenities after all." I blinked. "Shared amenities? Karen, that's my backyard pool, not the community one." She tilted her head, the way people do when they're pretending to understand English for the first time. "Well, technically, everything within HOA regulations falls under communal oversight, doesn't it?" I almost laughed. "You're telling me the HOA owns my pool?" Karen crossed her arms. "I'm saying your property affects the aesthetic harmony of the neighborhood. Therefore, it's subject to reasonable access." That's when I realized this wasn't just stupidity. It was entitlement wearing lipstick and pearls. I kept my voice calm. "Karen, if your family steps on my property again, we'll see how harmonious a trespassing report sounds." Her tone sharpened instantly. "Oh, there's no need for threats. We're neighbors. I'm sure you don't want to make this unpleasant." "Unpleasant?" I said with a smirk. "Karen, you broke into my pool. I think we've passed unpleasant." She sniffed, scribbled something on her clipboard, and muttered, "I'll be bringing this up at the next HOA meeting. You've always had attitude issues." That's Karen's go-to defense. Turn every confrontation into your fault. When she finally left, I stood there fuming. She'd turned her trespass into my behavioral issue. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. About her smug little smirk. About her husband's beer floating in my pool filter. I decided if she wanted to play HOA games, I'd bring the homeowner warfare. I installed a motion-activated camera by the pool fence, angled perfectly toward the gate. Then, a second one near the porch. And finally, my favorite part, I sprinkled a thin layer of harmless, brightly colored powder across the pool deck. Cornstarch mixed with food dye, under daylight, invisible, but under black light, it glowed like neon. If anyone visited my pool again, they wouldn't just get caught on camera. They'd light up like a crime scene. As I screwed in the final camera mount, a distant laugh echoed across the fences. Teenagers again. Or maybe not. Either way, I smiled. Go ahead, I muttered to myself. Take another dip. I dare you. It was around 11:45 p.m. when my plan paid off. The night was dead quiet. No cicadas. No cars. Just the hum of the pool filter and the low rustle of wind through the hedges. I was half asleep on the couch, a rerun murmuring on TV, when my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Backyard pool. I froze. Then I smiled. Pulling up the live camera feed, there they were. 3 shadowy figures sneaking through the gate, flashlights barely covered by their hands. The glow from the pool shimmered across their faces. Karen's husband, her son, her daughter, Mark was whispering. Hurry up before anyone notices. The daughter giggled. Mom said he's out of town tonight, Mom said. So Karen knew. She planned this. I set my mug down and quietly slipped to the back door, turning off the interior lights. The camera's infrared feed showed them, perfectly, stepping barefoot across the pool deck, laughing, tossing towels, and jumping straight into the water like it was theirs. A few minutes later, I watched the powder work its magic. When they climbed out, their feet and legs glowed a surreal fluorescent blue under the pool light. They didn't notice until the son caught a glimpse of his reflection in the sliding glass door. Dad, he whispered. Why am I glowing? Mark frowned, then looked down. What the? Panic spread faster than chlorine. The daughter shrieked, stumbling back into the water, splashing the glowing dye everywhere. They looked like ghosts at a rave. I stepped outside slowly, phone in hand, flashlight beams slicing through the air. Evening, I said, my voice calm, almost cheerful. Enjoying the community amenities? They froze. Mark's face twisted. What the hell did you do to us? Relax, I said. It's harmless powder, but it does show up really well on camera. I held up my phone and turned the screen toward them. They're glowing. Guilty faces caught perfectly in HD. The daughter gasped. You're recording us? Oh, definitely, I said. For the HOA meeting. I figured Karen would appreciate a visual reference this time. Mark stormed toward me, dripping and furious. You can't... Actually, I interrupted, stepping back. I can, and I already did. So unless you want to explain to the cops why you're half naked and glowing in someone else's backyard, I suggest you leave. For a long moment, no one moved. Then, without another word, they grabbed their towels and bolted, leaving glowing footprints all the way down my driveway. I just stood there, watching the neon trail fade under the streetlights, feeling something I hadn't felt since moving into this HOA. Nightmare, satisfaction. But what I didn't know was that Karen wasn't done. By morning, she'd declare war. By sunrise, the entire neighborhood knew. I woke up to the sound of angry knocking. Again. Only this time, it wasn't just Karen. There were 3 other HOA board members standing on my porch like some kind of suburban jury. Karen was front and center, sunglasses on, lips tight, clutching her clipboard like a holy relic. Good morning, I said, sipping coffee. You here for the highlight reel? Karen didn't smile. You humiliated my family last night, and you violated HOA privacy policy by recording minors without consent. On my own property, I reminded her, where your family trespassed. Again, her face flushed crimson. It was an innocent mistake. They thought it was the community pool. I raised an eyebrow. In my fenced backyard, the man beside her, some board member I'd never seen before, cleared his throat. Regardless, sir, you've caused distress. We're considering a formal complaint for harassment. I laughed. Harassment? I caught your president's family breaking into my pool twice, and you're calling me the problem. Karen slammed her clipboard shut. You think you're clever, don't you? Trying to embarrass me in front of the HOA. Oh no, I said, calm as ever. I didn't try to embarrass you. I just turned on the lights. That got to her. I could see it, the twitch of her jaw, the way her sunglasses slipped just enough for me to catch the fury in her eyes. Fine, she hissed. If you want to make this official, we'll make it official. HOA hearing, Monday night. Perfect, I said. I'll bring the footage, 4K resolution. Monday came fast. The community center buzzed with the low hum of gossip and lawn chair drama. Nearly half the neighborhood showed up, which never happened unless someone's fence was painted the wrong shade of beige. Karen sat at the front table like a judge in a courtroom, her husband awkwardly beside her, avoiding my gaze. When my turn came, I plugged in my USB and hit play. The footage rolled. Karen's husband and kids sneaking in, swimming, glowing like radioactive jellyfish under the blacklight. The room went dead silent except for muffled gasps and someone whispering, "Oh my God, is that Mark?" Karen's face went pale. Her husband covered his. When the lights came back on, the HOA secretary, a quiet woman who'd always avoided Karen's gossip circle, leaned forward and said, "Well, I think that settles it. Trespassing is a criminal offense, not a complaint against the victim." The room murmured in agreement. Karen didn't speak. She just gathered her papers, trembling, and left, heels clacking in furious rhythm down the hallway. Mark followed a few steps behind, still glowing faintly in memory, if not in light. That night, I sat by my pool again, the water calm, reflecting the quiet stars. No splashes, no laughter, no trespassers. I leaned back, sipped my drink, and smiled to myself. HOA Karen finally learned the one rule she couldn't twist. Don't mess with the wrong neighbor. Don't forget to subscribe to Karen Edition for more dramatic real-life HOA and Karen stories. Every week brings a new twist you won't believe. Like the video if you enjoyed the story, it really helps the channel grow. Which moment impressed you the most? Let us know down in the comments. We love hearing your reactions.